Today's video, we're headed to Pittsburgh's first national bank building. It's one of the first skyscrapers to be built here in the last 10 years. The previous skyscraper was PNC Bank's new headquarter tower downtown Pittsburgh, and that was actually a sustainable icon, and it's pretty interesting in its own right. This building we're checking out is about 80% complete. They're getting near to completing the facade on the outside. We've been invited by the AIA Pittsburgh's Young Architect Forum to come on a tour and check out the construction progress and really learn about how this building got built. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, hit that like button. Leave any comments that you might have in the comments below, any questions you might have about this project or how it got built. Also, subscribe if you're not already subscribed.
When approaching the city of Pittsburgh, each direction offers a unique view. The local geography of the city keeps it hidden until you're surprised with a perfectly framed view of the downtown. Our approach to the city was from the east side over the Parkway and the Boulevard of the Allies, the cliffside neighborhood that takes you through Uptown and to our building site.
So we're walking down here to check out this tour, and I just have to figure out where to meet everybody at. And I'm not 100% sure where that's going to be. But you can see here, this is the project signage. That's our tower. We might actually have to go back up to where we were before and where we parked to see if there's somewhere over there that we have to go, because there was a construction entrance. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the series I did on this building here, but I did a short series of vertical videos really depicting the process of creating this building, what they did to design it, and how it's turned out so far. Also the park back there. We might be able to get a cool view of that.
Just to the left of the FNB Tower is a Frankie Pace Park, also known as the I-579 CAP Urban Connector Project. This park cost $32 million to build and now acts as a connector from the Lower Hill District to downtown. Similar to Clyde Warren Park in downtown Dallas, this is now an inviting way to connect the two neighborhoods.
So I wandered around for a while, and eventually I found the tour group. They met on the corner. I couldn't find any information about them, but we're gonna eventually get in there and check it out. As I'm editing this video for you guys, I realized I completely forgot to tell you that we met up with our tour guides at the base of the tower here. We had Kara from Mascaro Construction, she's one of the project engineers, and we had Brianna from Gensler, she's one of the design architects that worked on this building. They went over some safety protocols, some stuff we should know on the tour, and then we headed up the buck hoist, which is essentially the construction elevator that's actually attached to the side of the building during the construction process and then removed later. It's a little scary because it shakes as you go up, but it's also really fun to ride up the side of a skyscraper like that. We headed up to the 26th floor where we continued our tour from there, 420 feet in the air.
Construction costs for the FNB Financial Center range between $220 million to $250 million for the build of this 26-story skyscraper. The building has also met LEED Silver certification. While not the highest of the LEED certifications, it still meets more than half of the requirements for a healthy and sustainable building. This is impressive for a building that has over 469,000 square feet and rises 26 stories. Each floor also has 12-foot ceiling heights.
I've been inside a while.
Once we stepped off the buck hoist and onto the 26th floor, we were able to wander the construction site a little bit. It was now the first moment of the tour where we actually got to understand how you build a tower like this and how all the construction details go together in the field. Another thing I forgot to mention here is as we got off the buck hoist, the operator was letting us know that we can catch a view of the Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium, PNC Park, and we might even be able to see them playing baseball that night. Our Major League Baseball stadium, PNC Park, is located just to the right of the Gulf Tower, which is the skyscraper that's shaped like a pencil at the top. Just to the left side of that tower, you'll see the yellow seats of the professional football stadium where the Steelers play. One of the most interesting things about a construction tour like this is that everything is exposed and we get to understand how the building is getting put together. We have a concrete core in the center just in front of us that rises 26 floors and has a steel frame that surrounds it. They put down steel decking and then pour a concrete floor on top of that, but they leave openings like this one here to allow mechanical and plumbing to run through the length of the building vertically. Something else very interesting we're about to see is that there's a hole in the floor plate right about here on this side of the building. This isn't a very well-crafted opening, and it seems like at first glance that it's in an odd place, but I promise you there is a really cool reason why this is here.
And this is here because during construction, not this phase of construction, because we still have open areas, we have a crane, we have a buck hoist, but after the building's completed and if they're doing any interior fit outs, they're gonna need some way to bring materials up and down between the top floors. We saw something very similar in downtown Dallas at Thanksgiving Tower, where they had to use an interior open space to hoist materials down between floors, almost like this. They used a little bucket lift, and there was a guy up at the top who was operating that, and that allowed them to bring materials down to the next floor. Now the center core is all for passengers, stairs and elevator, and usually there's also a material lift somewhere else in the building, and that material lift can't go all the way up to the top because of mechanical rooms. This is very pricey real estate up here. We don't want to lose more on our floor plate up at the top of the building than we have to, so those elevators usually end somewhere a few floors down from the very top, and that's how they get materials down.
Moving away from our hoist opening and looking back towards the rear of the building, you can see a secondary staircase, and this one is being finished off with gypsum board, so it is a smoke and fire rated assembly. If you look past those stairs, you can even see some of the sprinkler system as it comes up the vertical shaft opening for that. And then moving back to the rear of the building, once again, you can see the safety netting that is strewn all the way across at any accidents. Netting acts as a handrail for the workers that are up on the 26th floor and all the subsequent floors beneath it, but it also acts as one of the multitude of lines of defense to help prevent any accidents. And I don't want to forget the fantastic view of the Upper Hill District and Oakland beyond.
After we had the opportunity to get off the elevator and explore the construction site for ourselves, take in how exactly this building is getting put together, and even check out those views from the 26th floor, they called us all together at the back corner of the building to discuss the project, its parameters, its scope, the client, what they were looking to get out of this building, and then allowed us to ask any questions that we might have about the building and the process before we headed down to the 14th floor to continue the tour.
Once again, here we have a view all the way from Oakland back down towards the building that we're in, of Uptown, and you get to see all of Duquesne University there. Turning back now to the core of the building, we get to see the rear of that stair assembly and some of those vertical utility shafts that run the length of the building to allow water, plumbing, sewage, HVAC systems to all have easy access and run that length. They're going to be closing that up here shortly, but it's really cool that we get to see that while it's open. Those are some of the elements of a skyscraper that the public really never gets to think about, all of which are vital elements for the successful operation of a building. And while we're on the subject of successfully executing a project, this is the tower crane. As you can see, it's tied back to the building's core for stability. Tower cranes like this one are used on high-rise construction sites because they allow the contractor to quickly get materials from the ground floor up to the highest levels that they're working on. These tower cranes are usually made up of 8 different parts, including the base support, the tower, the turntable, operator's cab, the jib, trolley and hook block, the counter jib, and the counterweight. As our drone spins around, you can start to see all of these different elements of the crane, and they each play a vital role in the successful functionality of this crane. What I'm taking photos of here is the access for the crane operator to head up to the crane operator's cab. Being located on this level affords the operator the quickest access to the cab, and it's not located on the roof because there's no elevator access or buck hoist access. As we head back towards the buck hoist where we entered this level, we actually can see a lot of building materials that's scattered around. All of that had to come up to this level via the tower crane.
Start over here at the big pole line, this canvas.
This is another really cool part of the tour, but my audio didn't work out too well because I didn't have a mic attached to the GoPro, but that's all right. It was really windy up there. What our buck hoist operator here is explaining to us that on the back side of the building where we had our question and answer session, we can see all the way up to Oakland, which is where the University of Pittsburgh has their campus, and the tallest building in Oakland is the University of Pittsburgh's Cathedral of Learning, and we can see that all the way out there in the distance. To his right, we can see all the way up the Monongahela River. To his left, we can see Uptown and Lawrenceville, and behind him, we can see all of downtown Pittsburgh.
Slide down all of 2nd Avenue, this is down buildings. Has all been finished. And the Monongahela River. Downtown comes around, you got the Liberty Bridge, the Liberty Tunnel, the Mount Washington. And 34. But you're in a higher elevation. I mean, U.S. building is exceptional. Okay. All
Another thing our tour guide Brianna here was talking about is how the team at Gensler, when they were designing the building, they were doing view corridor renderings specifically from each of the floors that the high profile tenants would be occupying, and from different parts of the city what the building would actually look like.
Is this the only tower that's going to be built on site?
Not the only tower, but the only one of this height. Others proposed are hovering closer to 200 feet.
Okay.
So about half the thing.
And you did tell them this is the first style of this building in Pittsburgh.
First style?
Was it more?
Oh. I didn't know that it was the first.
Yeah,
It's the first one in Pittsburgh.
First time using the terrace system, which is a self-rising
Very system.
Yeah, that is on hydraulics, so it was just connected to the core, and there was a -1 level, a 0 level, and a 1 level, and then it would just
It hydraulically lifts itself up
Lift itself
for the
up.
next floor.
So that allowed you guys to do what? A floor a week or a level a week? Was that the schedule?
I think that's
Yeah. We're going next 15.
Kara, do you want to 14?
At this point, our whole tour group got back into the buck hoist and rode down to the 14th floor to continue the tour.
At this point, the buck hoist operator took off for the day. He was done with his shift, and we were going to walk down the rest of the building to continue our tour after we finished talking about that 14th floor.
If you guys are enjoying the video so far, please hit that like button. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below and we'll get back to you.
We've got another really cool part of the building here. We're on the 14th floor. In the middle of construction, they actually removed an entire section of that floor. We're going to start talking about it here in a second. But because of that, the design team actually didn't take it into account in the beginning, and a lot of things had to change, including the curtain wall. The mullions that are used to create that curtain wall actually got a lot thicker in the area that's a double floor. There is some structural stuff to account for, and all because the CEO of this bank really wanted to make sure that they have a high profile, high paced area within the middle of this building where their traders are going to be stationed in an open office setting.
Less than a year ago? But more than 6 months ago? It was very much being built. And so this was something that, again, thanks to all of our partners on this project, we were able to kind of get everyone to respond really quickly. Our friends at IKM were able to set a couple of things very, very early in their process to help us establish the structural boundaries of this opening. We did have to thicken up all of the mullions at this double height space. We had already reviewed all of the shop drawings, but we enjoyed doing it a second time. But we think this is going to be an exceptional space, and we're really excited to see it come to life.
What's it going to be used for?
I will let them speak to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hi, so I'm Alec from IKM. We're doing 8 floors of FNB offices kind of in the middle part of this tower, and then the top 2 floors, which are going to be the executive floors, including the CEO's office suite, which will be in this corner, but on floor 26. What happened here was the FNB CEO, whose name is Vince, kind of came through and saw a lot of the image making that you guys had done and some of the things that we had done as we looked it out, and wanted to create a kind of a showpiece within the office floors, which are all very typical desks and offices. And he saw this idea and decided that his vision was going to be something like the New York Stock Exchange, like trading floor with desks and monitors, so like a busy area here, and upstairs would be kind of like the visitor balcony where you can kind of look down and see all of the activity going on. So that was his vision, and we worked to make that happen as quickly and painlessly as we could.
Beds, but all of our attachments are in the curtain wall. And then, so that's kind of part one. And then we'll see here, this is structurally attached to the curtain wall. One is structurally embedded into the concrete slab. And then they're cooked. And then they're fully grouted to make sure that that connection is stable. This is a little scary. If you look straight through, we've got about 4 inches around the whole perimeter. That's going to be perimeter fire stopping that is going in there. And then we actually have a sill extension at the back side of the mullions that's going to be a little bit deeper and come off of that and cover up that fire stopping.
Now that we're finished with this part of the tour, we're headed to the 5th floor. This is the amenity level. They're going to show us how some of that stuff works out, because on the back side of that amenity level that faces the upper portion of the Hill District, it actually comes out as a deck. It's pretty cool to see how that's waterproofed and what those joint systems look like with the curtains wall when it comes down, meets the concrete slab. And then we're going to head back down even further to the 2nd floor and then eventually out to check out the ramp on the outside of the building.
So we've taken the stairs from the 14th floor down to the 5th floor amenity level to continue our tour. Be sure to leave a comment if you have any questions.
Our color floors, this is the level 5 amenity space, and then if you want to walk back to the front, you can see the roof terrace that all of the tenants will have access to. We have a couple of vegetative rooms, a lot of lighting features, and then lots of lounge seating and bar seating and party space.
As we continue our tour here of the amenity level, we head towards the back to take a look at the outdoor deck, and you can see that that floor is actually lower than the floor we're standing on, and that's because all of that slopes towards drains to allow water to escape. They come back with a nice decking system over top of that will be level. It's similar to what we did at our Leah's Floral Shop project.
If there's no questions, we can kind of head down and out. I think we're going to look at the main lobby and...
Yeah, did you want to stop at a parking yourself or just go down the road?
After a quick question and answer session about the details of the amenity level, we head back towards that staircase to take us down from the 5th floor now to the 2nd floor to check out the entrance staircase. But as we were walking by, I noticed some of the fire blocking being installed. So what I'm doing here is taking pictures of that detailing, because this is the first level where we're actually seeing that being installed. And I wanted to make sure I take a look at that and see kind of how it's getting done, because it was interesting to hear it talked about on the 14th floor, but it's even more interesting to see it implemented in the field. Another interesting element I'm going to point out here is what looks like sheet metal that wraps the edges of the windows. That's actually protecting what's known as a spandrel panel on the opposite side, and a spandrel panel is a piece of glass that's actually opaque that blends into the facade of the building but doesn't let light transmit through. As I mentioned before, we walked from the 14th floor down to the 5th floor, and now we're going to do that again. We're taking the 5th floor down to the 2nd floor, and as you can see, some of those mechanical chases or utility chases are wide open. We also have an opportunity on the 4th floor here to peek in and see where the passenger elevator is going to be installed once it's completely done. And down on the 3rd floor now, we have the opportunity to peek in and see where the garage is going to be. Now, this building only has 100 spaces, and it's going to be for those high-ranking employees or dignitaries of the building. As we look up here, that's one of the chases. You can see almost all the way back up to the top of the building, and we're going to head back down again to the 1st floor where we can see the elevator lobby, or where the elevator lobby will be. Earlier we discussed how the architects at Gensler developed all these renderings for the building. We're showcasing some of them here because this is an interesting element. This is the main entry-level staircase, and so we're showing what it could look like and what it looks like as it's being constructed. Same with this lobby space here. It's all going to be really elegant and kind of designed to showcase the power of the banking institution that occupies the space.
Garage are finished, and then beyond this point, we're going to have to do a built-up slab on some areas, not all. But yeah, this is all exceptionally challenging. This is very hard to coordinate, this area with the curtain wall. We also have these big granite panels that are coming in this corner in particular, meeting the curtain wall. Yes, and so we're basically hanging that stone with all of the mixed metals that you see there, which is super fun. And this is also a really tight coordination point as well because of the deflection criteria permitted by the curtain wall. which does not play nicely with the anticipated impact load of cars that are coming up on levels 3 and 4. So very fun. So yeah, this is our nice stone, and that'll circle the whole way around the terrace that we saw.
As we begin to finish out the tour here, myself and some of the other members of the tour stopped to take photos of this point in the building assembly. This is the first point of the tour where we actually get to see different materials interacting on the facade and how the architects came up with a solution to incorporate them. At the higher levels of the project, on the 26th floor, the 14th floor, and even that 5th floor, all we saw was curtain wall and that assembly and how it was anchored into each floor plate.
It's like a hanger system, that's it.
As architects, we like to document excursions like this when we get out of the office and finally get to see a building getting put together. As architects, site visits like this only aid us in the understanding of how a contractor is implementing a design or how our fellow architects are coming up with solutions to complex problems. It's therefore crucial that we get out of the office and onto the construction site.
See where the mechanical systems are midway up the building. Typically mechanical systems crap out at 15 stories, so it's in the middle of the building so we can feed both up and down for efficiency. So yeah, any questions? Takes up maybe one structural bay in the 15th floor.
Wow.
And then, I mean, the levels 1 and 2, the whole back where the CMU was, that's all back of the house, like all of our building automation stuff is down there.
That's the end of the tour, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. I know I did. And I have a feeling that if you stuck around this far, there was something about this video that you liked. So if you guys are not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, because I have a goal for this channel of hitting 100,000 subscribers and bringing architecture and construction to the world. If you guys like this video, hit that like button or that thumbs up, because that's also going to let me know that you enjoyed it. And it's going to let me know that I can create more videos like this for you guys in the future. And if you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below and I'll get back to you soon. You guys can always find me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Dave Stumpf or at Dave Stumpf Architecture. And I'll see you guys in the next video.